Evel Knievel. Now, when I was a kid, all I'd ever hear about is how great Evel Knievel was. Now, Evel Knievel was like before my time, but I would hear from the older kids how great he was and how great the Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy was. How that was like the best toy ever. But I never saw one in real life. I never got to like actually test it.
I did. Once again, I know we keep going back to this but like my cousins had that. And it was at Nornie's old house.
Yeah, because that's what it would be like my older cousins and stuff. And like some of the older kids in the neighborhood would be the ones, you know.
They had it. And I thought Evel Knievel, when I was little, I thought it was like Nebuchadnezzar. Like I thought it was one name. I thought it was all like, well, I didn't know it was a guy. like two names. It was such a Evel Knievel. I thought it was one thing. I loved it. Anything, any vehicle thing, any vehicle toy, vehicle like show. And you know, I didn't get enough motorcycles.
So you got to play with the toy, or you just kind of like, did you get to like do the hand crank thing on it?
Yeah, like there's the hand crank.
So it wasn't like broke, because I would assume that like the reason I never saw one is that everybody broke their Evel Knievel toy by the time I was born, you know?
Their toys were in such great condition. Like for some reason they kept them in good. I had like almost like a pristine Evel Knievel motorcycle, and it would go so fast, and like it was taking me back seeing like your demos of that. Like the thing rips. Yeah, it's so awesome.
Like that's so cool that you got to have that experience as a kid, because like I never did. And then I was at a record exchange, or the exchange in Pittsburgh, and they had like, it was like a reissue of the Evel Knievel stunt cycle that came out in like 2020 or something there, and I was like, you know what, I always wanted to try. Let me just get it, just so I can see what it's like, even though it's a replica. And it like way outstripped whatever like expectations I had. It was like 10 times better a toy than I imagined. Like I get the hype, because it's like, you crank it up.
Great size.
The sound that it makes when you crank, like it's sort of, when they talk about like design and stuff, you know, it's like form meets function, and like it cranks up and then it gets super loud, and it is like what it's pretending to be. It is like this like loud engine. And again, like the big advertising for it was always like, no batteries, like you can't believe what this thing can do without batteries. And you do that hand crank thing, and the engine gets like deafeningly loud. And then sometimes you can like control when he takes off. Like if you stop cranking, he'll take off. But sometimes he'll take off without you expecting.
I love it.
Like it's like this thing's alive, and that Evel Knievel's really riding it. And the force that he goes with is amazing. He just like keeps going.
Zooms.
He goes over like weird terrain and so like.
And he stays upright.
Yeah, he stays upright. Like I never experienced like a toy like this before. Like this was, as somebody who's like fascinated with toys, it was like, this is incredible. And you could almost like go into conspiracy theories of why this thing went away, because it's like, well, no battery, the battery lobby or whatever.
That is
it's like so great and amazing and powerful, but
and you don't need any batteries.
You don't need batteries, yeah. Because the reason they stopped making the toy was like Evel Knievel started getting into like legal trouble, and like he was just not a good role model.
Yeah,
at all, and so they had to like pull it from the market. But like, imagine if like, why not just apply that technology, like make like the Fonzie, you know, whenever some new guy who's on a motorcycle comes along, you know, replace it. You know, the
cycle.
There was actually a Fonzie cycle. Mego put it. This was Ideal Toys that made the Evel Knievel stunt cycle, but Mego had a Fonzie motorcycle, but I think it was battery powered. Guess they couldn't make it too much like the Evel Knievel one. So it would like, he'd drive in like weird, like, he'd drive almost like in a square. He'd like do these hairpin turns.
They couldn't do they couldn't like clop the tag. Yeah. And like, you're right. Like the Ideal, I don't know why they pulled the pin on it. I looked up their sales in the run they did on these toys. They sold like almost 200 million of like dollars. It was like in the 70s money.
Yeah, like, it was one of the biggest selling toys like of all time. Like, massive success, and I totally see why. Like it lives up to the hype. Like, just about every toy is a disappointment. And this
lives up to the hype.
It like exceeds the hype, and it was highly hyped. Like, I'd heard about this thing, like, my whole childhood and how great it was. And you're like, yeah, whatever. It, like, more than lives up to the hype. And I've sent Evel Knievel on all kinds of runs and all kinds of jumps. He's had head-on collisions a bunch of times. It's plastic. It's the 2020 version. It's not the 70s version. But it's like they tried to make it as faithful as possible. But the thing's still going.
Oh,
like it's got this like spring thing on the front. So like the front wheel kind of goes like this a little bit. And I think that's what's, because like he's done a bunch of head-on collisions. But and like any other toy would break, but I think that little bit of like give. Kind of saves it.
And the scale is nice too. It looks like when he's riding out there, when you were like getting some shots, it kind of like, it looks, you can kind of like do camera trick where it's like, oh, this is a little like mini movie.
Yeah, if you want to make, like, I'm surprised that in all the Evel Knievel movies, I'm surprised they didn't use the stunt cycle for some like, you know, footage of him riding, you know.
Well, in this flick, speaking of stunt guys and the Fall Guy, there was a thing where he like used stunt guys and like tried to keep them like under wraps on a lot of the motorcycle stuff in his own movie.
We're talking about Viva Knievel.
Yeah,
this is like the Evel Knievel movie from what, 77? So a year
starring Evel Knievel.
There was like an earlier one with George Hamilton as Evel Knievel.
Yeah, from 71.
Yeah, this is after the toy. So this movie, Viva Knievel, is partly like an advertisement for the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. Like, yeah, he goes to an orphanage and he's handing them out, and it's like the full box. It's not even like, you know, sometimes in shows and movies, they like, you know, like hand a kid some like opened toy.
It's open.
And stuff. They show you the box. They show you all the different other things.
Looks great. And
and then you have the Evel Knievel Optimus Prime, where it's like it's the Optimus Prime 18-wheeler with like the red, white, and blue stripes on it and stuff.
Do some van damage with that. Like there's a motorcycle in the back of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and his Sky Cycle that he tried to jump Snake River Canyon.
That's what I'm curious, because that hand cranked stunt cycle is such an amazing toy. And I know there's like a whole line of toys. There is like the rocket that jumps over the Snake River Canyon and stuff. Like, I wonder, like, are those any good? Or is it like, that's the amazing toy that's like the center of it all, and then the other ones are just kind of like
propping everything else up.
In the history of toys, where it's like you get these like inventors who come up with some cool new gimmick, and then it's like, okay, how do we make a toy that incorporates this gimmick? So you have like Web Store, the He-Man character, and it's like, okay, we have this cool string that makes the guy like shoot up with the grappling hook.
How can we apply that?
How can we make a toy that uses it?
So we got Gene Kelly as Evel's motor mechanic.
Yeah, Gene Kelly was, this was, you know, the era of these kind of roles. Like, put this next to his performance in Xanadu.
That'd be a great double feature, Viva Knievel and Xanadu.
Pittsburgh's own Gene Kelly. And he's wearing, like, Evel Knievel's leftover clothes. Like,
those lapels.
He's got the jean suit with the jean jacket, jean pants, and then, these amazing lapels.
Here comes Evel.
Is that Red Buttons?
That's Red Buttons, okay. Yeah. He's a promoter, and, like, in this, which, you know, truth stranger than fiction, he has a disdain for promoters in this movie, and it carries that over into his real life.
The George Hamilton Evel Knievel, like, there's not enough stunt cycling in it. I think there's like one jump like near the beginning, and then there's like one jump at the end.
And there's a lot of action in this. The finale of this movie, like the last 20 minutes, are truly like awesome. And Gene Kelly, I never thought it's like full on action hero Gene Kelly.
This movie is such a gift, and it's like that George Hamilton one is so important because it's so early and so vital to establishing this like Evel Knievel mythology, but it's very raw, and this is like very refined. Like this is like a pumped up. This is, you know,
this had a big budget.
Yeah, the George Hamilton one, it's like all slow motion too, so it's like it's all these slow motion shots of him like turning the thing,
or his hair looks really like too perfect the whole time. Like
I mean, come on, Evel Knievel's hair is no joke in this.
His is like, oh, look at that,
great fashion in this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting that pinky ring.
Evel Knievel is just such a just one of these like you know, victim of his own hubris. You know, like he flew too close to the sun.
So now he's like, you know, he's seeing the love interest here. Like she's here to photograph him.
The Evel Knievel thing made me want to like revisit the Evel Knievel episode of Happy Days. Now, before Fonzie jumped the shark, there was like an earlier season where he jumps a bunch of like garbage cans in the Arnold's parking lot. And so I was watching that, and it was the same as the Evel Knievel movie, the first one, because it's like, as a kid, I remember watching it, being like, you know, but then watching it, it's like all build up. It's like, there's a girl doing a drum roll. There's like, she's doing the drum roll, and he's getting ready, and he's revving it up. And then like they cut to like a close up of like every member of the Happy Days cast looking concerned. Forever. And then Pat Morita, Arnold, he's like looking through the window of the diner, and then Fonzie's jump is like so fast, it's over in a second, it's all dark, you don't see anything, and then he like crashes into the snacks.
Tom, I was looking back through his like stuntography, and I was like, well, was Evel Knievel, he seems to have wrecked and crashed like every single one.
Yeah, it's like kind of pathetic. Yeah,
I was like,
I mean, you can find ones where he does make it across, but no, and that's how you build the legend too. He was a pretty reckless, you know, just not very well thought out, you know, kind of a dullard, you know, kind of a dolt.
I was thinking like,
and it probably got worse as he had these like repeated head injuries and you know.
Because I'm like, you know, you can like do the math to try to figure, like, to actually try to like land.
Yeah, no, he was just completely reckless, and that's why like his son has like exceeded every one of his records.
Oh, Captain Robbie Knievel,
yeah, which is pretty interesting. I think also like his willingness to harm Evel Knievel's willingness to harm himself is part of the draw, like that the audience is coming to maybe see this guy
jackass before jackass.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Robbie Knievel story always is like so interesting to me, because it is like he has this dad who's like a weirdo, who's like kind of like a sociopath or something, has no interest in being a dad, and is like kind of mostly absent from his life. And so you know, Robbie kind of grows up with this guy who like is sort of like a hero to him, like way up high, and like he wants so badly to like connect with his father, but then also having this resentment of like, you know, hey, look at this asshole who's not giving me any time and wants nothing to do with me. So he grows up to become, you know, to go into the family business, become like the successor to Evel Knievel. So he's sort of feeding both of those impulses, where it's like, it's a way to be close to his departed father by like, you know, following in his footsteps. He gets to be close and sort of do some, you know, hero worship and idolizing of his father. And then at the same time, degrade his father by just erasing every single record, every single accomplishment. Like, so it's really a beautiful demonstration of this sort of, you know, father hunger dynamic.
Captain Robbie Knievel was, I mean, you know, growing up, like, I was too little for the original. Right. So he was my Evel Knievel. Like he you know, you'd watch like some like special and he's doing something. So like I got to see a lot of Robbie Knievel, which love Robbie Knievel.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of cool.
Leslie Nielsen is in this movie playing a drug lord.
And that's like when Gavin MacLeod played like a gang leader on it was like Columbo or something.
And
or Hawaii Five-0.
One of his schemes is he's trying to get, there's a wheel, like a little explosive in the wheel of Evil's motorcycle, and he's going to smuggle drugs out of Mexico, kill Evel Knievel, and smuggle drugs in his casket when he forces him to like die during a stunt.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it is so great when you see Leslie Nielsen in these sort of like non-comedic roles. You know, the kind of roles he had before Airplane, and then
he was doing like dramatic stuff, and you're waiting for him to like land a joke or something.
Yeah, but I mean, this movie, I mean, you know, so much of the appeal of this movie is just so how insane it is. So, you know, it helps.
There's a part where they put Gene Kelly in a sanitarium, and like to kind of like he figures out the bad guy's plot, so they like put him in there to like, you know, keep him out of off the board, and Evel Knievel breaks him out by like driving the motorcycle through the door of like, the hospital. Oh yeah, Yeah, he's doing some parking lot stunts to show off for the photographer here.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like, this is all, you know,
practical.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how the camera's moving around. This is like,
isn't that cool?
Yeah, this is. There was nothing like this in the George Hamilton one. This, yeah, just really great camera work. It's kind of reminds me of Michael Bay or something.
Yeah,
the camera's like real low and it's
spinning
like
around,
zooming around as he. I guess it's like 2 motorcycles. So you got Evel Knievel on his motorcycle doing all this stuff, and then the camera's on a motorcycle too, maybe.
It's like Evel surrounded himself with like good people. You got Gene Kelly, Red Buttons, and the director of this movie did Stagecoach.
Okay, wow, okay. Man, that seems like a movie that Evel Knievel would have like grown up with and like loved. So
isn't that cool?
That's cool. And yeah, seeing him go up the steps and stuff. And man, like the Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy can go up all kinds of weird terrain.
I saw him do that stuff. Yeah. Isn't this awesome? It's like the perfect like Fall Guy companion,
and does great wheelies too. Like the because that's what's so great about the toy. It does feel like that little Evel Knievel doll is like really alive and doing it, because like every so often it'll hit something and like do a wheelie out of nowhere. You know, it's like I've had like remote control, you know, cars that weren't that weren't as cool as this little, you know, thing that you just has like a gear inside that you hand crank.
It's an all-timer toy.
Yeah, really. So what happened to yours? Do you still have it, or?
So much of those toys from my cousins, they kind of like at some point when I was in like middle or high school, they like got lost in the shuffle when my grandmother moved.
Okay, I thought maybe they got like passed down to like some like even younger cousin or niece or nephew or something.
When she left there, because there was like. Man, she had like vintage like Tonka stuff, Transformers were in my cousin's old house, like G1, old comics. Yeah. And they had this like cowboy fort. It was so cool. Yeah. I love that.
Evel Knievel's lapels, he has these like red lapels. It looks like Dracula's cape.
Yeah, he's like, blah, I want. So we got Gene Kelly's working on the motorcycles. His son comes back.
Yeah, from English boarding school.
They copy Evel's stunt cycle. He's going to jump some lions in that cage there. Perfect, like, yeah. And it's the Evel Knievel caravan, all of his like stuff there.
This is the Evel Knievel movie you want.
This version I got it in HD. It's a real crystal clear widescreen.
That George Hamilton one, I think it was a Roger Corman production. So
that's awesome.
So that's cool. R.I.P. Roger Corman.
We'll have to do a Roger Corman episode.
Yeah, that man, I love that like American Eagle cycle. And like when I was a kid, and you'd hear about like the Captain America movie, and then like when I saw it, and it's just like him on a motorcycle with a helmet for most of it, and it's like it really was just like, okay, what's the closest thing? Like you try to build on like established things. It's like, okay, what's the closest thing to Captain America? We're making a Captain America TV movie. What's the closest thing? It's like, yeah, Evel Knievel. So it's basically just like an Evel Knievel movie.
This is where Evel breaks in undercover to the sanitarium to like in a white coat. He like does like espionage work in this. Like,
yeah, it kind of reminds me around like this. There's precedent for this. Like it kind of reminds me of Harry Houdini used to do movies too, and it would be like that too. It's like, okay, he's this stage magician, this escape artist, but then he does these movies where he's like a super spy and uses his escapes to like, get in and out of stuff. Yeah, I'm recognizing some of these character actors.
Dabney Coleman's in this movie.
Oh, is he?
And Frank Gifford is in this.
Dabney Coleman, R.I.P. Yeah, and Frank Gifford, like, it's like his lapels are not quite as big as Evel Knievel's, and that was in the contract. He's like, nobody's lapels are going to be as big as mine.
Someone's on set, his assistant is measuring lapels on set. I think this movie might contain the biggest lapels, the collection of lapels. And
up there he is standing up. That's another, the Evel Knievel stunt cycle has a little thing where you can like snap his feet into place so he can stand up on the motorcycle. Yeah, the picture is great. It's a real nice looking picture.
And
yeah, the George Hamilton one, it's like it was filmed on Super 8.
Super 8, like a home movie. Yeah, there's his rival who's dead, and Evel has to wake up and and the bad guy, Leslie Nielsen, kidnaps his girlfriend and Gene Kelly's son and puts him in the back of the Evel Knievel carrier. And there's a big like road chase here.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing some real drama there. Like when he's in the hospital and stuff, he is really like he's de-glamorized. Like his hair's kind of like messed up, and his
eyes are all wide.
Yeah, he's emoting.
So this is Leslie Nielsen's compound. Gene Kelly and Evel Knievel are
in their red and orange jumpsuits.
They're coming to the rescue here. It's like a fever dream. I'm so glad this movie exists.
This is very awesome. This must have been like right before the end of Evel Knievel, like because he has a fall from grace. Like I don't think he makes it to the 80s as like
the fall comes like during like whenever the cycle of this movie in the theater. It happens while it's in theater.
Yeah, because it feels like, you know, it's peaked. Like it's peaked, and this is like the ultimate sort of like excess, like the ultimate expression of this thing that is about to go away. You know?
I just look at the action.
There's equivalents to this.
I don't know if he spent time in jail for it, but it was a big legal thing. It was Gene Kelly. He's like, you don't want to piss off Kelly. He's like, we're gonna split up. Kelly's going after Leslie Nielsen in his Porsche.
This feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like this seems like something he'd be super into. And we're probably gonna see some shots from like Death Proof in here.
Yes,
because there is a shot in Death Proof. Like there's all this like action going on, and then there's just this random shot of like a guy on a red, white, and blue motorcycle like crashing into a snack stand. So I wonder if you know.
These shots are beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautifully shot.
So he's like
this is like a stuntman's movie. It could be
Ryan
like
Gosling's.
Well, who's the director of Megaforce?
Oh my God, Hal Needham.
Yeah, it's like a Hal Needham production.
I know, you think Hal Needham was behind this.
Yeah. How long, like if it wasn't for that sort of fall from grace, I wonder how long the Evel Knievel machine would have kept going, because it feels like this is like we're going somewhere with this. Like you can build on this.
I feel like it would have. You're right. It would have kept going because
he could have been like the action star of the 80s. I mean, I you know, he's getting a little older, this and that, but it's like, you know, so's Roger Moore. You know?
Oh, definitely. And like, you know, people were ragging on his performance in this. I've seen worse.
Sure, yeah.
Like,
yeah, and of course, like the thing of like a guy playing himself. You know, like the expectations aren't that high. So. Man, there's Gene Kelly with a gun shooting windows. I'm so glad this movie exists just for Pittsburgh's own Gene Kelly. Just for like him getting to be an action star and like shoot windows. And like he must have been having a ball, because it's like, when else did he get to do this kind of stuff? You know?
Yeah, he was like
he doesn't dance once.
No. He does you know, awesome stunts and like gunplay and stuff. Isn't this fucking awesome?
This is a lot of fun.
Look at that. And like
I don't know if they're gonna do another season of Video Archives, but of the Video Archives podcast, but this feels like this is gonna show up
on
season
there.
2. Yeah.
We covered it here first.
Yeah. Yeah, as usual, we're always scooping them.
So Evil's now going after the rig. Watch it. It's a great stunt where he drives off of a overpass over a bridge onto the big rig on his motorcycle.
Now, how much of this stunt riding do you think is actually Evel Knievel? Because I'm guessing by this point, like he doesn't want to be doing this. The movie studio probably doesn't want their star
insurance,
insurance and stuff. So.
Somebody's a stuntman.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not Gene Kelly really doing that. So obviously that's a stunt. I don't believe Gene Kelly's doing his own stunt. And it is like the close-ups where there's like a guy on a motorcycle and then it's like a close-up of Gene Kelly, like against the green screen.
Like Gene Kelly demanded to do his own, like every last stunt. That's him like dying on the other. Yeah, EK.
The Evel Knievel doll. Like that's what the belt buckle is. It's that like EK symbol.
Here he comes. They're like, we've got company. Isn't that awesome? Like Optimus rig just driving.
Yeah, they need a tribute to this in the next Transformers movie.
He's going up for the bridge here.
Oh, love it, love it.
Like hill climbing in a real motorcycle.
Yeah. Hey, that's what the toy does. The toy will go up a hill, too.
I saw it go up that ramp.
Yeah, the skate park is, like, the best place to try out your Evel Knievel doll. And I saw, like, the commercial for like that new like reissue of the toy. There's some skate park footage. So,
oh hell yeah!
You know when you're in that bowl thing because it's like
perfect.
It just keeps going and going.
I would take my radio control cars to like a ballpark and drive it over like the pitcher's mound and stuff. Oh, watch this.
This is a beautiful stunt.
Look at this.
That's
onto the top of the ring.
I wish it was all one shot because I wanted to, because like he jumps up as the truck's coming through and then it's a reverse shot when it goes down. Now, I mean, that's good editing, but I wonder if there is footage of it landing on the top because I'd love, like, even if it just touches the top for a second and then you cut away, like, because I want to see that because that. Like,
wasn't that a cool gimmick?
Yeah, that was a little like, your heart, it
skips a beat.
Skips a beat there. This is great. Here's another like Tony Curtis impersonator. That was a look in the 70s. Like if you were between age 50 and 60 during the 70s, you're a Tony Curtis impersonator.
Oh, ooh. I want that guy's outfit too. This stunt guy is fucking...
He's just going and going. And they're keeping that camera on him. Yeah, I mean, Evel Knievel's doing kind of like the Indiana Jones thing a couple years before Indiana Jones. The sort of, you know, taking down a truck. Even has his collar open on his like jumpsuit here. With his, like... Yeah, lots of chest hair and gold in this movie. Like, they need Evel Knievel teams up with Adam West. That's what they need.
Oh my God. You weren't expecting a Gene Kelly, like, balls-to-the-wall action sequence?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is awesome. Viva Knievel. Can't recommend it enough. And go out and get the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. You won't regret it.
I'm picking it up, too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Do it. And then we'll have races.
Yeah!
We'll get to have, like, a whole lead going. Because that's the more of these you can get into play, the more options you have.
The Evel Knievel Racing League.
Yeah.